Alright, what up, man? Greetings and salutes to all my hotshot hustlers, all my highway hustlers out there. And I hope you're out there being safe, man, and doing what you got to do to make it. Today, I want to talk about something that's very, very important. And we know that safety is always number one. So this right here is something that I experienced, and I see a lot of other people experiencing it right now to this day. And it's brake issues. And when it comes to hotshotting, there isn't a lot of information out there for brake issues, what's possibly going on, how to possibly self-diagnose the brakes or the issue without having to go spend a lot of money. And so I'm learning that it's a lot of people that don't understand the value of knowing how to diagnose your own problem. So a couple of years ago, I had that very issue pulling I had an older model truck. It was a 2004 and a 2010 gooseneck trailer. And I probably spent, let's say I probably spent 8-9 months or more in combination of trying to figure out an issue that kept rising. And it was the signal inside the truck that says the brake is disconnected. But yet the lights, if the lights are still working, and the only thing that you're not doing is being able to get brakes, is several things that you need to look at. And I would suggest starting from the hood, going all the way back to the dovetail of the trailer. So for one, I would check the fuses. Check just to make sure that it's not a fuse that has blown out, that's not sending signal to the wiring. All right. So if the fuses are good, then I would check the brake controller to make sure that the brake controller itself is working properly. I know with older vehicles, we have to get a manual brake controller where we have to manually install it ourselves. So sometimes that could be an issue with compatibility and wiring. So I would look at that if I were you. And then from there, I would go to the back of the truck and look at the connectors on the inside of the truck where you connect the brake line to the electrical line. I would look at that as well as the connectors inside the brake line. I mean the connector line of the trailer, to make sure that no prongs are bent, to make sure that that it's not rusty or just simply losing connection like that. From there, I will go to the top of the neck of the trailer where the trailer battery is. I experienced a couple of times to where that battery would go out, would go dead, and that would have to do with either being old or is wired wrong or wired incorrectly. That's sending the wrong signals or causing something to burn out with the trailer wires. Because if the battery in the trailer is dead, and the way that one quick way of draining that battery is to, when you disconnect from your trailer, you have to leave the black safety pin. You have to leave it inside of the trailer. Otherwise, it's going to lock the brakes, of course. And talking about the breakaway switch, it'll lock the brakes for you, but it's also draining that battery whenever that pin is not in there. So that may be a possible problem. And everything that I just named are simple solutions. They're inexpensive solutions, but we have to be willing to take the time to stop what we're doing and put the time in to figure it out, especially if you are running out of finances to keep paying for it. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars and still did not have the problems fixed. And so that's what made me start looking at it myself. So I just suggest the same thing for you. But if you don't address it when it's small like that, you could possibly run into bigger issues. So once you get past the trailer brake safety box, once you get past the connector of the truck and the connection on the trailer, once you get past the safety, the brake switch in the truck, the trailer brake switch, and once you get past the fuses, then I will work my way under the truck and follow the wiring, under the trailer, I'm sorry, and follow the wiring that's going from the neck all the way back, because you may have exposed wiring. I've experienced that, where something was maybe cut in the wire, or a wire may have gotten too hot and melted wires together, and you may have to go in and splice it or just get it changed out. I've experienced that. And keep in mind, with it being electrical brakes, if anything electrical within that circuit is is having an issue, it has a tendency to cause issues with everything else that's connected to that. All right, so follow those wires. If all of those wires are good under the trailer, that's touching the lights and everything, then go to your brakes on the trailer. Go underneath and make sure that all of the wires along the axle and the wires that's actually inside of the brake pad, the brake assembly, make sure that they are connected and make sure that they are properly connected. Because if any one of those get disconnected, it'll throw the signal, it'll stop the circuit from going to the rest of the brakes. All right, and then if that's fixed, then what you have is a magnet. It's a little small magnet about this size that's that's inside of the brake assembly. And what that magnet does is when you hit the brakes, whether it's the truck brakes or the trailer brake, when you hit it, those magnets are going to lock up against the brake assembly and cause it to go into action. If one magnet is malfunctioning, the rest of the magnets on the rest of your brakes will be affected. And the longer it goes unaddressed, the more it will pull from the other magnets. All right, so if you know how to do it yourself, you have some mechanic skills, or you have a friend that's a mechanic, you could probably get the magnet for less than $100 and you can fix it yourself. You may have to pay a couple of $100 in labor if you don't know how to do it. But those are some simple but important fixes. And those are just all of the things that I just named. All the things I just named are the things that if you're having brake issues, it's one of those. So if you have an older trailer, I would suggest going in and as you're making your money, invest in yourself and invest in your equipment, because without the proper equipment, we're not making no money. And I ran across two guys yesterday getting loaded, a couple days ago rather, and both guys were having brake issues, and they were in Oklahoma getting loaded, ready to come back to Texas. Now, I'm not judging, because I've been there and I've done that, and it's very foolish. It's very foolish. It's stressful. It's scary, because at any given time, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And the way you have people driving out here nowadays, the last thing we as drivers want is to have to sit down at the end of the day and accept responsibility for something major. For something major. Not just getting put out of service by DOT. Been there, done that. You get past that. That alone should be enough as professional drivers for us to be able to make the decision to say, I'm better than this. And I know I have to be better than this, because everybody's depending on us to get the things that it takes to make this world go round. They're depending on us to do it. But also they're depending on us to be safe, even when they're unsafe. And that's the thing that separate us from being a driver to being a professional driver, especially if we call ourselves owner operators. And we have to be able and willing to handle these issues, acknowledge that there's an issue, address the issue, and make whatever adjustment that we have to make in order for our business or our companies or even just ourselves to succeed, especially in this hot shotting. It's a hustle. It is. It's a hustle. But the moment we take it from a hustle to a business, and then we'll be able to go from a business to a company and not having to actually operate ourselves on a daily basis. All right. So, number one, make sure your brake's good. All right. God bless you. Be safe. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Hit down there, go down to the bottom of the page, man. Like the video, subscribe, and I want you to subscribe so that you'll know when I'm on, and I want to support your channel as well, because I want to learn from you as I attempt to teach people and help people learn from my experiences. Y'all stay safe.